Honorable Sokanyile.
Yes, Chair.
How are you?
Recording in progress.
I'm good. How are you? Good evening.
Fine. Honorable Matthews. Good evening.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, members of the committee.
Yes, thank you so much. Can I please greet our legal team? I see Advocate Zikalala, Advocate Mohaitsi.
Good evening, Chair. Advocate Norman Arendt is running a little bit late. He's in transit, but he will join us shortly.
Okay, I see Honorable Brayden Barr, Honorable Ntuli, Honorable Sankoni. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Honorable Chairperson. Good evening, colleagues.
Good evening.
Thank you so much. So far we have only 4 full members of the committee. The staff of Parliament, good evening.
Good evening, Chairperson. Good evening to members and colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tuli. When you greet us, you greet on behalf of everyone who works with you. Let me greet, I see there is a Newsroom Africa, there is a Zaleka, Honorable Zoe, there is ENCA. Good evening to you.
Evening, Chairperson.
Good evening to Parliament Television. We will need 2 more members to start with the meeting. Honorable Souls, good evening to you.
Good evening, Chair and colleagues.
Okay. Honorable members, we are going to start the meeting. Honorable Sangoni is here. Honorable Ntuli is here. Honorable Brayden Bark is here. Honorable Matthews is here. Honorable Souls is here, and I'm also here in the meeting. So we are going to start. Let me take this opportunity and welcome you and indicate that we have agreed that we will have a meeting where we will come and consider the submissions that have been made by the public, because the submissions are many, and we will make a determination on how those submissions will be dealt with. But be that as it may, there will always be issues that the committee will have to deal with, especially those pressing issues. For instance, we have almost exhausted the list of we have almost exhausted the list of witnesses, and we may have to guide the legal team on the witnesses, the key witnesses that may have to be consulted in the period between now and probably the 13th of December, when we will still be waiting for extension by the office of the Speaker or by the National Assembly. Because so far we have not received any letter of extension, but we have had very good discussions with the Speaker, and hopefully that letter will come. But what is going to be very important is that the legal team should be able to do consultations with witnesses that the committee would have identified, and maybe some of the witnesses may have to be identified emanating from the presentations that have been made by the last witnesses that appeared before us in the past week. And then we will also get a briefing on the witnesses that have been scheduled this week. I mean, for this week. And the orders of the days starting from tomorrow until Thursday or Friday. And then we will also get a briefing on the incident that happened during the week, where one of our witnesses, Honorable Mr. Nkabinde, was intimidated or insulted by one of the citizens who he, during his testimony, happened to mention his name. And then the last item will be the item on the submissions, which is likely to take us some time. So I'm going to plead with the committee members that we deal with these 4 items: the scheduling of witnesses for consultations, and the briefing on the orders of this week, and the matter of Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, and then the submission. And because by all indications, Thursday or Friday may be our last day of hearings or proceedings for this year, if there is any other matter, we can probably look at next week and deal with those matters, especially that we did not have any business during the day due to travel arrangements by members, and that is the reason why the meeting had to be shifted from 11 o'clock to this time. So I will want to propose and persuade members that we deal with these items that I have outlined, and in case there is any other matter, we can deal with that next week. ANC, do you support?
Yes, Chairperson, we support and move for the adoption of the agenda as you have outlined it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, MKP.
Thank you, Chair. though I was trying to get a nice network, I just came in, logged in just 3 minutes ago. So I must say that let me just listen. I'll come back.
Honorable Shongwe might have heard something. We're dealing with the agenda, Honorable Skosana, to say.
We are still on the agenda. Yes, Shongwe, you can come in. Thank you.
Yeah, but let me just explain it to your benefit. We are saying that because it appears that this week may be the last week of our hearings for this year. And we had to reschedule our meeting from 11 o'clock during the day to now. The proposal is that we deal with the scheduling or the identification and scheduling of key witnesses for consultations by the legal team between next week and probably the 13th of December. And then number 2, we deal with the briefing on the orders of this week. Number 3, we deal with the matter of Paul O'Sullivan. And then the last will be the submissions which have been made by the public. And that if there is any other matter, because the committee may not be busy from next week until the 5th, we can look at those days towards the 5th of December and schedule a meeting to deal with any other matter that members would prefer the committee to consider it. So the ANC had supported the adoption of the agenda.
Chair, I heard you very well. I support. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, the DA.
We support, Chair. Thank you.
And then the EFF.
Chair, supported.
The Patriotic Alliance.
Support, Chair.
Thank you so much, honorable members. I haven't seen Honorable James, if she has joined. If you have joined,
I'm here.
James,
I'm here, Chair.
Good evening, and how are you?
I'm fine. I just landed, Chair.
Thank you so much.
I've heard your... Yes, I did. I just joined. We support. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. We have received the following apologies, honorable members. We have received an apology from Honorable Cameron, who has commitments. He will not be able to join tonight's meeting. And then we have an apology from Honorable Nomvalo and Honorable Mwango, who are flying from KZ, and they should have left there by 6 o'clock. Their flight has been delayed. I see Honorable Ngola has now joined. Thank you so much and welcome. Can I check if we have other apologies? Oh, Honorable Cameron has joined this year.
Yeah, he's on, Chair. Sorry.
Okay, thank you so much. Do we have further apologies?
Well, not an apology, Chair. It's Honorable Mateus. Honorable Malema will be joining us shortly. He's just wrapping up on organizational work.
Okay. Any other apology? Oh, okay, thank you so much. We are going to proceed with those apologies recorded. Andile, do I hand over to you or Advocate Sikalala or Advocate Mkhwaitsi for the proposal on the scheduling of the witnesses for consultation?
Good evening, Chair, and good evening to the members, and good evening to my colleagues on the platform. I leave that to Councillor Shepherdson. Thanks.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Oh, no, I'm saying Advocate Zigala and Advocate Mkhwaithi should lead us on this one, Chairperson. Thanks.
Okay.
Chair, good evening again, honorable members and Chair. May I propose that this item be moved to a little bit lower on the list because Advocate Norman is still trying to get to his hotel. He's still waiting for his luggage. And I'm sure he would want to get input on this item.
Yeah, I do not know how long the submissions are going to take us, but let me do this. And if you can just put up the screen there, Bonani. For the key witnesses that are outstanding is General Dumisani Khumalo. And there is Mr. Brown Mohoti. There is the name of Paul O'Sullivan. There is Mukanazi from Ekuruleni, I forgot his title, Mr. Julius Mukanazi. And then the name of McBride has also come in. Of course, the committee has not decided on that name, but that is the name that came very strongly. And then there are two other names of former generals, police commissioners, General Patlane and Mutiba, who were mentioned in the testimony of Mr. Nkabinde. So all in all, those names will be 7. Can I suggest that we have those names on the screen so that if members want to add or want to subtract, that can help us? Who is helping us with the screen? Because it's like, I don't see Bonani here.
Good evening. I am helping with the screen and the names are on the screen. I don't know if members can see them.
Oh yeah. Okay. Members, can you see the names on the screen?
Yes.
The names are not. The names are not written in any particular order, and these names are 7, which as the chair, I have also discussed them with Andile to share them with the legal team to say we were supposed to have scheduled Mkhotsi and Khumalo. Unfortunately, they were not available at the time due to the reasons that were advanced. And so now, Mr. Nkabinde has appeared before the committee. From the key witnesses that the committee has identified, the outstanding 4 were those. It was General Khumalo, it was Mkhotsi, it was Mkhwanazi, Julius from Ekuruleni, and then it was Paul O'Sullivan. So now the other 3 additions proposed are McBride, Robert McBride, Khomuzo Patlane, and General Mutiba. So I'm going to check with yourselves whether you are happy with these names, that consultations can start with these witnesses from next week until the 13th or the 15th of December. I think that is the time that I discussed with the speaker that if the legal team has to work, it may have to work in those 2 weeks and pause until January next year. And probably by that time, we would have been given the extension, or maybe before the end of this week, so that we don't hamper the work of the committee. If we can have a list that guides the legal team to start consultations, and if members feel that some names can be taken out and be replaced with others, they are at liberty to do so. And if there is any other name, we can come back next week. Which names will be secondary to this one that we have identified? I want us to deal with key witnesses. And if there is any other key witness that would have been left out, members can mention that name, but let's be reasonable and understand that the time for consultation may only be 2 weeks. And once we have the extension by the end of the week, probably we can meet again next week and discuss further names. I think I would have put the matter in such a way that members will understand the kind of the decision that is needed here. Can I check if there is any clarity-seeking question before I rotate for discussions?
Chair?
Yes, Honorable Skosana.
Yeah, I just wanted to find out, because I can see that we are adding. There's Mutibe, because his name was mentioned, and there's still other people which their names came in many times, like Khan as well. And we remember we had Prince Mkotedi. And from the judiciary here, Chair, I think because this is joined both the police and the judiciary. So far, we don't have anyone from because we've mentioned Dustin Mlambo before. And I think there's a lot of things happening now as well in the judiciary. I think we need to have the names of a judiciary. We can't have only the police, NPA and IDEC and IPT only. We need to have people from the judiciary, you know, whether it's a magistrate, whether it's a judge. We need to have them. That's my proposal. Remember, we had Mkotedi as well, and others. But I'm saying, Patlane maybe as well. We need to talk to him. But I thought we'll start with the ones which we had. Remember, tomorrow, Dimpa, it was the CFO and the acting Musikili, which I proposed lastly that. What if she only issue a statement? Really, she acted for 13 days. I don't know what the other members will feel, but for me, to do 2 in 1 day, and in fact, I don't think it's 2 because there's no submission from the acting, then the acting national commissioner when that letter was issued. The PKT department. I don't know whether there's other issues.
Yeah, we are still coming to the item of Musiki.
Okay, thank you.
So what I said, Honorable Skosana, remember when we were dealing with the witnesses, there are witnesses that we identified as key witnesses.
Yes. Like
your General Kumalo, like Paul O'Sullivan, like Brown Mohotsi. You get that. That was a decision of the committee. So
true.
What is being proposed now, without even going to a long list? The long list will come and discuss next week. But what is important is that the committee, remember, before you do consultation, you must write letters of invitations. So what we need is for the committee to reaffirm, for instance, if the committee still recognizes Brown Mohotsi as a key witness, if the committee still recognizes O'Sullivan as a key witness, if the committee still recognizes Dumisani Kumalo as a key witness, if the committee still recognizes Julius Mukwanazi as a key witness, it's for the committee to reaffirm that decision and say, consultations must start. But we have said that for instance, there were these names that were mentioned of people who were plotted so that they should not occupy certain positions. Amongst them is Commissioner Patlane, Commissioner Mutiba, and there was also that name of Robert McBride that was implicated by Ngabinde. So the proposal here was that if it pleases the committee, let's allow the legal team to start initiating contact with these witnesses. And then the rest of the witnesses that you mentioned, for instance, we will come next week. But this week, letters must go out to those key witnesses. Does it make sense? I want to rotate to hear what the parties are saying, because when I gave you a chance, I wanted all of you to be clarified about the item so that when you come to make inputs, you understand exactly the kind of decision that we need to make. Is there any further? Okay, can I rotate?
I agree with the list. Thank you.
ANC, I'm starting with the rotation now.
Chair, good evening to you and good evening to all other colleagues in the meeting. When I raised my hand, it was when you were asking whether there are clarifications required by members.
Okay.
And the reason why I wanted clarification is not a long matter, it's relatively short. On the list that you put before the screen, you included Mr. Brown Mukhotsi as well as Lieutenant General Khumalo.
Yeah.
I remember very well that those two names have been on our agenda for quite some time. And what I wanted to ascertain, when you are saying we need to clear the list for consultation, is whether or not there's not been a consultation with them. I mean, for Khumalo, to be specific, there's been a unanimity on our discussion that we need Lieutenant General Khumalo. So I needed clarity because some of the names I thought the consultation would have started already before we can deal with the list as you presented. Thanks.
Okay. Advocate Zikalala, on this list, is there any of the witnesses that has been consulted?
Evening Chair, evening committee members. In relation to that list, that's 7, speaking under correction, but we haven't consulted with any of them as yet. Both Mr. Mukhotsi and Lieutenant General Khumalo have always been on the committee's list. It's just been a function of difficulties scheduling the consultations, but they have always been people who we were assigned to consult.
Okay. Chief Whip.
No, thanks, Chair. I'm clarified, and I am ready as having been assigned by the whip of our committee to then speak on behalf of the ANC with regard to the list as presented.
You are allowed.
Okay. The only difficulty now is that the list is not on the screen, but I'm going to try and speak to the names as I understand them. Chair, from the ANC's point of view, we support that we should proceed with Lieutenant General Khumalo for the strategic role that we all understand he plays in the PKTT and SAPS in general. We also support that we should proceed with Mr. Mukhotsi because of how, in many ways, he has been implicated. We support that we should include as a new name Mr. P. Olosullivan because of what appears in our view to have been his involvement, not just now, but for quite some times in the security affairs of our country, sometimes as reported to us in a negative way. But Chairperson and the colleagues, we are not very convinced that our work will be incomplete without physically listening to Mr. Julius Mkhwanazi of Ekululeni. Our view is that we can ask him to submit a statement on the basis of the areas that we want to canvass with him. And in circumstances where we may not be satisfied with the statement, we can then decide what to do. Secondly, General Pashane also got mentioned in our own understanding on the plot that was led by McBride and others in that, I think what they were calling Pashane plot. He was plotted. So in a way, he became a victim of a plot. I think the story has been told to us. We may want it to be corresponded by somebody else. I have no objection to that. But we don't think that is worth it to call him before the ad hoc committee. If we want him to confirm certain issues, we are of the view and we would like to present that view to the committee for consideration, that he is one of the people that his information as important as it could, but we can be satisfied with the written submission on his part. The same as with General Motiba. We are also of the view that if the committee can be persuaded, this is one of the witnesses that would otherwise not have a difficulty if we can get them submitting a written statement. The reason why we would support the name of Mr. Robert McBride is because of the centrality of his activities in the disruption of the police service. If the statement as presented by Mr. Nkabinde is anything to go by, it has to keep all of us very worried and concerned about that particular character, who I suspect he might still be occupying a certain responsibility within the security cluster of our country. So an opportunity for him to explain his side of the story on the alleged destruction that was led on his name, I think is very important for us to deal with it in an environment where we can listen and, if I were to use, for the lack of a better word, cross-examine what he says, or what others are calling this inquisitive approach that we're using. So that is what we want to propose, Chair, on the other names, that we really would like to make a proposal that we can do without them literally sitting before us for the whole day. Okay. Lastly, Chair, I know that this is not part of the names that are on the screen, but the point that was made by Honorable Skosana, you will guide us. We also had the same view about, for instance, Lieutenant General Msikil. But if the work has already been done, she's appearing before us tomorrow, we are willing to accept that we can deal with both of them tomorrow. Never mind that we could have done without her physically appearing before the committee as well. But if the plans are at an advanced stage, we see no objection to us proceeding tomorrow. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, that item will be presented immediately after this one. When we deal with the orders of this week, the team will take us through the witnesses that are appearing from tomorrow until Thursday or Friday. So, Chief Whip, you are suggesting, you are supporting 4, and you are saying Julius Mkhwanazi, or Mr. Julius Mkhwanazi, Commissioner Patlane and Commissioner Mtiba, we can solicit written statements from them.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you so much. MKP.
Nomvalo is in. Nomvalo?
Yeah, I'm in. We've just landed.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. You will bear with me, Chair, if my background is noisy. We're still in the airport. But I've been able to get the gist of the current subjects. Our submission, Chair, one, we want to align ourselves with the ANC on the part where it agrees on the names that they have agreed upon, but also want to persuade them, in particular in relation to the name of General Patlane, to change their view, because I don't know if it was today or yesterday, General Patlane, I don't know if he was on the media or what, but I saw some headlines that he spoke about many cases, or dockets rather, which are gathering dust, which were opened against Paul O'Sullivan while he was still while he was still the acting national commissioner. So I think his testimony is not only going to assist us in terms of soliciting facts around his plot that was made by the comrades. I mean that by the people that were mentioned, but also is going to share some light because to us, Paul O'Sullivan is a major problematic character. If the evidence that has been tendered against him so far is anything to go by. So we need to drill down so that we can see the extent to which his problematic character has eroded our security cluster and the justice system at large. So we have a particular interest, and we believe that many characters can help this committee to enhance our understanding about his unethical and criminal involvement in the security cluster. And we believe that General Patlane is one of the people who can assist us. So we are politely and kindly lobbying the ANC to reconsider its posture in relation to General Patlane. But we agree, and we don't want to repeat the reasons. I think they cover our sentiments that the chief whip of the ANC has alluded to in relation to the names that they agree to come before the committee. That is my submission. Honorable Skosana will come in and take and then carry on from where I've left off.
Charlie, Chair, I don't want to spoil the fun. You know, I think Honorable Nomvalo has expressed our views in terms of how we think General Patlane might be crucial for him to come before us. I'm not sure about Notibe, but with Patlane, I think as well, because I've been listening to him as well today when he was interviewed. There's a lot of rot in the police service, and I think he'll share that with us. Thank you, Chair.
The Democratic Alliance.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, we agree more or less with the list as it looks now. I have no particularly strong feelings about Patlane one way or the other. Thank you.
Honorable Breitenbach, what are you saying about Patlane?
I don't have any particularly strong feelings. He can come, he cannot come. I don't oppose the suggestion.
Okay. The EFF.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, we aligned with the recommendations of the names. Is it 7 names that are there? With General Patlane, I think I agree that we need him to come and do an appearance and not just a statement.
Okay. The Pangazita, have you joined? Honorable Mngango?
I'm with him, Chair. He has not joined. We're together.
Does he agree with you?
Yes, he agrees with me.
No.
He can confirm. Okay, he's on the phone. He agrees with us.
No. Let him speak. Honorable Mwango.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, colleagues. I missed the introduction of the subject matter, Honorable Chairperson. We've just, disembarked. Yeah.
Okay, no, it's fine. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Sols.
Chair, we agree with the list as proposed, and also agree with the physical appearance of General Matlala. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Honorable James.
Chair, we are fine with the list. We are indifferent about Patlani and Motiba. I don't really see a need for them to appear before the committee, but everyone else, we are fine with them. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. So, honorable members, there are names that you are unanimously agreeing on. That is the name of General Kumalo, Mr. Brown Mokhozi, Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, Mr. Robert McBride, and Commissioner Patlani. The majority of members have supported those 5 names, and there is a feeling that written statements can be solicited from Mr. Julius Mukwanazi and former acting commissioner Motiba. So what we will do, honorable members, we will proceed with those 5 names. The other 2 names, in case members still have to persuade each other, you have this week to discuss them further, and then we can finalize them next week during one of our meetings. But this 5, I think, will be sufficient for the legal team to start sending out letters this week to invite them for consultation. Can I check if members agree with the summary?
I've raised my hand, Chair.
Honorable Skosana.
I think, Chair, the majority agrees with all those members there. I don't know why we're supposed to wait until next week. I think there was only 1 or 2 opposing views on this matter. So I don't think that. I think we will agree now about that. The legal team must consult all of them. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. It's fine. Let's. So the names that.
I also have my hand up, Chair.
Yeah, I'm coming. Okay, Chief Whip.
Yeah, no, I want to agree with your summary, Chair, but also to say the motivation that Honorable Nomvalo was advancing, and I think many others have supported on Patlani. We are willing to agree to it as well as the ANC that Patlani must appear before us. But of course, I think your summary is right then that the other 2 we agree on them as well, but for written submission. And I wanted us to agree that is for written submission, not to qualify it for further discussion. I think we need to agree that Mr. Mkwanazi and Motiba, we ask them for written submission. Thanks.
Okay. Can I then rotate the 2 names? We have agreed on the 5. Now we are rotating Mkwanazi and Motiba. The proposal of the ANC is that let's solicit written submissions from them. MKP?
I think, Chair, I agree as well about the issue of Kwanazi and Mutiba, that perhaps we can debate that if it's necessary in the next coming. But I think the issue of Patlane, we've already exhausted that matter. And Paul also Sullivan, we agreed on the matter. And Kumalo, we agreed many months ago. And Mokotsi, well, we still agree, yes. And yeah, in my view, I think the other two, if the committee, some members feel that maybe it needs some, we need to revisit that. Maybe I'll say it's fine. But for me, I think if we complete this thing now, that by the time the legal team consult, if they consult all of them, whether they're going to send a statement, Mkwanazi. But I still feel that Mkwanazi, we need him in this committee, even if it's one day. I think we can deal with that matter of Mkwanazi as well. Mutiba, as I said, I'm not sure it will depend on other members. You know, I'm cool about. I think we are cool as MK that even if you send a statement, we are fine with that. But
yeah, the proposal that the chief whip makes is that the two witnesses should make written submissions. That's why I'm checking with you. What is your view? Because those other five we have concluded are going to appear.
I will ask Mkwanazi to appear. I'm not sure about other members. Thank you, Chair. Motibe, yes, I agree that the written statement will be enough.
The DA?
We agree with written statements. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, the EFF?
Thank you, Chairperson. I don't think anyone who has heard the allegations against Mkwanazi can say Mkwanazi must write a written statement. What are you allowing? What are you suggesting? Mkwanazi is at the center of Matlala's rogue behavior. He gave Matlala the state. The state that was given to Matlala passed to his girlfriends and friends. We cannot allow that. Fitted blue lights on him. Mkwanazi is alleged to have abused power and used the Metro Police for their own personal protection, where there are even allegations of death. People were killed. How is that written statement going to answer those questions? We cannot allow that, not Mkwanazi. Mkwanazi allowed this shenanigan to play itself out with the mayor of the DA driving in blue lights, cars that belonged to CAT and fitted blue lights. Why is that not an answerable appearance question? Mkwanazi has got a case to answer where young women were crying that they were intimidated through his collaboration to a point where they were driven to graves, crying tears, explaining those issues. You don't want a person to come and appear and give that explanation as to what were they doing with eroding the authority of the state and abusing it to a manner in which they've done. Because municipality is a small state. It's a small state. That's what we're investigating. That's what we said we're going to call municipalities here to come and account. He is at the center of that. That former intelligence boss also said he wants to come to us because there are serious questions about him. I don't agree, and the EFF doesn't agree that Mkwanazi must not appear. He must appear and answer all these shenanigans. They've been running amok. They've been running amok, doing as they wish, making mockery of the state, making the state look laughable. And that is actually involving Cat Matlala, which we're going to ask him questions, some of us, about that role. He will make certain allegations, or confirm certain things against Mkhwanazi. That time we've got a resolution that says he must have a written statement and he must never come back to us. We will argue with a written statement. That is not in the best interest of this committee. This committee must hold everyone who did wrong accountable. They must appear in public and come and tell us the story as to what happened, my guy. How do you call a guy like Mkhotsi? I'm not disagreeing that you must call him a clown that looks like a potential patient of mental hospital, must be called there to come and answer. But here is a man who abused the authority of a small state. Mkhotsi was a chance taker, two-timer, but he's going to come to parliament. We all agree. But here's a man who went to put a badge on his shoulders. He didn't know even how to put that badge. The sorts were looking at the bag as a demonstration that he doesn't know what it means to be what he is. He went to hijack that position. Why are we not calling someone like that to come and answer him? Where did you get the promotion? Who gave you the promotion? Who gave you the badge? Who gave you that honor of wearing that badge? Because that badge is not a playground. So, Chair, Mkhwanazi must come, and then Mothiba will agree with a written statement.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable Malium. Honorable Mngango.
Chair, Honorable Chair, good evening. I firstly want to concur and agree with your summary about the 5 names. And with regard to the 2 names, Mthibi and Mkhwanazi, Mkhwanazi has been mentioned a number of times, and his alleged actions actually amounted to involving the entire state in the criminal activities of Mr. Matlala, or alleged criminal activities of Mr. Matlala. And therefore I support the proposal that he actually must appear physically before the committee. I thank you.
Honorable Sauls.
Chair, I fully support the position by Honorable Malema that we should have Mr. Julius Mkhwanazi to appear physically before us. And I also want to just add to the fact that we should not, although time and our time limitation are restricted, we should not over prioritize that challenge to the detriment of us being effective. Because the reason and the basis for which we should have Mr. Julius Mkhwanazi coming is very important, because it speaks directly to what we are investigating. But when we are going to always prioritize, we don't have enough time, and then we don't interrogate key people that has had or allegedly had such a grave impact on the livelihoods of South Africans. It's a problem. And I'll conclude, Chair, by adding for consideration also that we should also look at these kind of witnesses. We should also look at how much time we have to interrogate or to question. I'll honestly tell you, I'm more in favor of how we started in the formula and the format that you used. But of course, I understand why the format changed. But I would urge, in instances like this, maybe for your indulgence, Chair, to also consider that when we have witnesses such as this, such as Mr. Matlala and others, that you consider giving us or going back to the first format, even though our time is limited, but let's push harder for these kind of key witnesses. But I fully agree with the position that Mr. Julius Mkonazi must come in person. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Honorable James.
Thank you, Chair. I fully 100% support Honorable Malema on Mkonazi. The weight of the allegations made by the witnesses, even if you're watching the Matlanga Commission, we cannot be overlooked. This is someone that is at the center of corruption. This is someone that is an enabler to Mr. Matlala. If anything, we could have called him even before the deputy ministers and everyone else. So he is a definite. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. I have rounded all of you, honorable members. The meeting agrees on 6. Hello.
I'm sorry to do this for you, Chair. But I think I have to mention, whilst we are still, talking about the witnesses. I'm not sure whether I must wait for late, but I think this is the right time for me. That's true.
No. Let's do this, because you are going to prejudice on other members. We have rotated in.
No, I was not talking about what we were talking about.
We will give you time later, Honorable Kosan.
Sure.
The meeting agrees on 6 names, honorable members. The last name to be added after the name of McBride is the name. After the name of Patlana will be the name of Julius Mkonazi from Ekurhuleni. And the meeting is comfortable with former acting commissioner Mutiba making a written statement. So this concludes this item, honorable members. If there are other names, we will look at that in our meeting next week. For now, we wanted these key witnesses so that the committee can start this week to initiate contact with them and schedule a consultation.
Yeah. Okay. Chair, can you allow me half a second, 30 seconds?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, and other members to do this. That we just received a letter from, I'll say a WhatsApp message from a legal representative of Randoven, Ketchre, that because we are going to Koshimampuru CMAX, he's there as well. And he said that he wants to, but they don't know that there's consultation. They thought that we would do him as well.
Let me rule you out, Honorable Skosana.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I'll come later. Sure, thanks.
Yeah, let me rule you out. Honorable Sangon.
Chairperson, thank you very much. I think we were prepared to be aligned with your ruling, Chair, especially when you were saying that we must not raise issues again. But I do want clarity. When you started with this meeting, and I must put it on the record that as the ANC, we did not think that the issue of General Mkonazi, was a matter that we would necessarily quibble on. So we're not going to do that. But part of our reasoning also speaks to the issue of timing. Now, you have said to us that as things stand now, I heard Honorable Saul saying we should not foreground that matter, but it is a reality. We do not have the luxury of time. Now, given the fact that you have now agreed on, or at least we have now agreed on 6 names, can you then speak to us, Chair, on what we expect is going to happen as it relates to the timing of those witnesses? Should we perhaps prioritize on the witnesses given the time that we have? If General Mkonazi and whoever else becomes the priority, but we can't just leave this thing open-ended when we know that we do not have the time to conclude this matter, as we don't yet have an extension. Thank you very much, Chair.
Chair.
Honorable Malema.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy, Chair, that the protectors of Mkhwanazi are now showing and using technicalities to try and protect the people they've been working with.
No,
it's very clear.
Chairperson, can you call that into order?
No, you are working together. It's very clear.
No, we are not the ones who were driven around by Mkhwanazi. It was you and the DAPs. We are not going to be told that.
No, you are not going to take that approach the same way you did with PPE and
No, you're not going to
that.
do
No,
that.
we
are raising issues here. You were not even in the meeting when we were discussing time. Don't come in. You are late. You don't know what you were discussing before. Then you want to tell us that the protectors. You are the one who are using Cat Matlala's cars. Don't tell us that.
We never drove in any. Why are we calling for Mkhwanazi to come? You are the ones who are refusing Mkhwanazi to come, and you are using a technicality to prevent Mkhwanazi to come.
And make a meeting a chaos. No.
Honorable Malema must raise.
You are protecting Mkhwanazi. Do it. Let the people know that you are protecting Mkhwanazi and you are using a technicality to protect Mkhwanazi.
Withdraw, Honorable Malema. Raise your point.
This is wrong.
Raise your point.
Honorable members, may you please listen to me? I think for some time I have given you an opportunity to run the meeting. So may you please allow me back to run the meeting. Honorable Malema, we were supposed to be moving to the next item. I wanted to check, because I have given Honorable Skosana a chance to speak. Was there a matter you wanted to raise before we move to the next item?
Chair, you gave Honorable Skosana to speak, and then you gave Honorable Sangoni to speak, and then she says no. You must now, because you have included Mkhwanazi, explain the issue of how we're going to work in terms of schedule. And then this becomes an issue once we have put Mkhwanazi on the list. And the point I'm raising is, I'm happy they are coming out openly. And that's what I'm saying. I was responding to her. You gave an opportunity to speak. I was responding to her. She's not going to speak and think she can be responded to like all of us. All of us can be responded to.
Yes.
If she spoke, I responded to her.
What you said is that the protectors of Mkhwanazi are coming out, and I think it's an unfair statement for you to make. Because
why has she not made that point when we gave the ANC chance to speak? She only makes that point when Mkhwanazi is included. That is using technicalities. We know how these people operate. It was never an issue. It was never an issue.
Honorable member, I'm going to rule you
that statement can it be withdrawn, please?
No, comrades. I mean, honorable members, please. Honorable Malema, I'm ruling you out and request you to withdraw that statement.
I withdraw, Chair.
Thank you so much. What we have agreed on, honorable members, is a list of 6 key witnesses, which the legal team will this week will initiate contact with them and will schedule for them for consultation. And what they will do, because after we have taken a decision, they go and draw what we call a proposed timetable. Because the hearings of these witnesses will not happen this year. Like we said, that this is our last week of hearings. So they will come and present a proposed timetable to say, we suggest that on these 6 names, this must be the first to appear. And then the committee can then, and I think we will still have enough time to discuss that timetable. The witnesses would have been consulted, would have been invited, and then we can agree who do we want to come first. If that is the question which you were asking, Honorable Sangon. Did I hear you properly? Honorable Sangon.
I'm sorry, Chairperson, I was struggling to unmute. Chairperson, if you are saying that you are going to look at the issues that you had raised in terms of timing and the extension and the fact that these witnesses will then appear at a time that is workable in terms of the challenges that we are confronting, we don't have a problem with that. I don't want to go back to any other issues, but that was the only matter that we were raising because you did indicate that right now the committee has not received an extension beyond the 28th of November. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you so much. Remember, honorable members, you have agreed as the committee that it is yourselves who prioritize the order of appearance. So let's allow contact to be initiated with the witnesses, and then the legal team will come and present a proposed timetable on the order in which these key witnesses will be appearing before you. Can I? Hello?
Honorable Shongo here, Chair. May I borrow a second, Chair, if I may not be disrespecting you? Kindly read the text I sent to Chair, which I'll be sharing on the group. I just want to say this before you close this matter, for in case you might reconsider, there is space for you to maybe note this issue that I've sent. It's basically based on the resources and time wasting, maybe trying to save time as well, and the fact that we are going to Hoshimampuru. Kindly look at the text as we are moving on. I'll also share with the group. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Advocate Zikalala, is there any comment you want to make on the item that we have just decided?
Chair, thank you. Nothing further on my side. I don't know if my colleagues, if SC and Advocate Mohaitsi are on the line as well.
No, Chair, nothing from my side. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm handing over to you again to take us through the order.
Chair, it's Matthys here. I have my hand up.
Honorable Matthys.
Yeah, Chair, just before we move on to the next item, I think we'd like to just register our dissatisfaction that we are dealing with names that were on the very first list when we did these names. So the fact that we are even still discussing it and prioritizing it is of great concern. Lieutenant General Kamala, Mohetsi, Paul O'Sullivan, and Julius Mkhwanazi, they were always on our list from day one to make appearances. So the fact that we are doing this it's very telling on our efficiency and on how we're operating as a committee. So we just wanted to register that. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. Advocate Zikalala or Advocate Mohaitsi, would you want to take us through the proceedings of this week?
Chair, I can do so. Chair, tomorrow we have Lieutenant General Dimbane, who's the CEO of the SAPS. I'm not sure where matters are in relation to Lieutenant General Musikidi, but I know that her statement, I think, has been finalized. She is the head of police operations, so she was responsible for the G20, and so was only able to finalize her statement later this afternoon or evening. And so what was proposed was that she, together with Lieutenant General Dimbane, are the two witnesses tomorrow. And then from Wednesday, we have Mr. Matlala, who we have scheduled for Wednesday and Thursday with, as I understand it, a spillover if required on Friday. Given the nature of Mr. Matlala's evidence and how expansive it is, it may not be possible to complete it entirely. but we will probably have to discuss that as we go along. Chair, those are all the witnesses, unless there's any further questions that you would like me to address.
What you are saying so far is that is Lieutenant General Dimpane tomorrow.
Yes, they might need some clarity in relation to just the difficulties in reaching General Musikidi, not for reasons of her own making. It was just in relation to her responsibilities.
Because of the G20.
Yes, that
and then Wednesday, Thursday, Matlala.
Yes, so
and then probably Friday if we can't finish his testimony on Thursday.
Yes, Chair. The other alternative might be that tomorrow we go through the evidence of General Dimpane, and then early on Wednesday start with General Musikidi, whose statement is not very long, and then proceed to dealing with Mr. Matlala.
Okay, I'm going to suggest that you do this. Once we have the statement of General Musikidi, for now, I think it's sufficient to say we have General Dimpane and Mr. Matlala for those days. Let's make the statement of General Musikidi available, and the committee will make a decision after they have seen that statement, how long and how short it is. And then a decision can be made, maybe during a break, whether she can make a written submission or, if there is a statement, the committee can decide whether that statement is adequate or not. Were you done before I circulate? I rotate for members' comments.
Chair, just one last comment from me. The statement is now available, as I understand it, with the annexures, so that can be made immediately available to the committee. Okay. Thank you for the submissions.
Honorable members, tomorrow is General Dimpane. Wednesday, Thursday, and probably Friday, depending when we finish, is Mr. Matlala. The statement of General Musikidi will be made available for you, and then during the proceedings, we can make a decision whether we want her to appear on a scheduled date or if that statement is adequate. Can I rotate to the parties to hear what your views are on this item? The African National Congress.
Chairperson?
Hello?
Yes, it's Bonani. Maybe just before you start with the rotation, okay. The statement has been circulated, so members can check in the group. It is there.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bonani. African National Congress.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. We will study the statement of Lieutenant General Musikidi. We did support the earlier decision in an earlier meeting for her to submit a written statement. So I think only on studying it can we propose perhaps another avenue with which to approach this matter. So at this point in time, we are fine with your recommendation. Thank you, Chair.
You agree with the proceedings of the week?
Yes, we do, Chairperson.
Thank you so much. MKP.
Thank you, Chair. I think the issue of General Musikili, because we are sending us now the statement just now, and I don't think it's fair, Chair, that we are dealing with the matter of Dimpane. Now we are told that we might have to deal with this matter. Well, if the chair sees that the proposal for Wednesday is proper, if we'll have time, it's okay. But I just want to raise that on record that it's not fair.
No,
to get a statement.
it's not what we are saying, Honorable Skosan.
No, the legal advice, I mean, the legal team just said that now. To say
as a
that
belief, Honorable Skosan, may you please just lend me your ears. The legal team says General Musigidi, because was the coordinator, the security coordinator of the P20, they have not scheduled her to appear before this week because her statement was completed today. And then what the committee has to do, because the statement is also a very short piece, the committee must study that statement and make a decision whether you want to schedule her appearance or that written statement will be adequate. That's what is being presented.
Yeah, but Chair,
and so what we want to hear from yourselves is whether you agree on the appearance of General Dimpane and the appearance of Mr. Matlala this week, and that during the proceedings, once members have studied General Musigidi's statement, we can make a decision when do we schedule her or whether that statement is adequate.
No, I heard very, very well, Chair, the legal team when they said that perhaps on Wednesday, maybe it was a proposal. Hence, I'm saying to you, it's not fair. I think we have to make a decision on that, whether we hear that from General Musikili, maybe at some other time. But to say there's a proposal, because there was a proposal by a legal team that maybe we can do it before we start with Mr. Matlala. Hence, I'm saying it won't be fair because we just received that now.
Do you support the proceedings of the week?
Yes, I support the proceeding that Dimpane tomorrow on Wednesday, it's Matlala, and that's what I support. What I don't support is that we have to do two, Dimpane and Musikili, because we won't have time, Chair.
Yeah. We have not made any decision about Musikili. We said that decision will be made. So
thank you, Chair. I agree with the program. Thank you.
Okay. And then Democratic Alliance.
We agree with the proposal. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, the EFF.
Agreed, Chair.
Thank you so much, the IFP. Pangazita.
Yes, I agree, Honorable Chair, with the proposed program for the week.
Okay, the PA.
Agreed, Chair.
Thank you so much, the HNSA.
We agree with the proposal, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Then we move to the next item on the matter of Paul Otiyu with Admile.
Yes, Chairperson, are you referring to me?
Yes.
Okay, Chair. Good evening again, Chair, to you and the members and to my colleagues on the platform. Chairperson, even though I was not part of the committee when this thing happened, but Section 7A, Chairperson, of the Powers and Privileges Act provides that a person may not improperly interfere with or impede the exercise or performance by a committee of its authority or functions. But Chairperson will agree with me that the committee has not met on this, and I think the committee is meeting for the first time today. And of course, the committee will have to then take a resolution based on what may have been a violation of the clause I just referred to. And I think, Chairperson, in terms of the very same act, the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Chairperson of the Council, which is the NCOP, exercise joint control and authority over the precincts on behalf of Parliament. So, Chairperson, I think the committee must then mandate, of course, you as the leader of the committee, and of course, I think what will then happen is that we will have to write to the Speaker, Chairperson, because even in terms of Section 17(2)(a), which speaks about offences relating to witnesses, 17(2)(h) says a person who threatens or obstructs another person in respect of evidence to be given before a house or a committee commits an offence and is liable to a fine or to imprisonment for a period not exceeding 2 years, or to both the fine and imprisonment. So, Chairperson, I think the issue here is this. Firstly, there is no impediment to Mr. Nkabinde going on affidavit and opening a case at the police station. But also, Chairperson, I think the issue will be that from members, what is Parliament doing about it? And that's why I'm saying the Speaker, because this is a committee of the National Assembly, and the Speaker as the head of the House, Chairperson, how does then she operationalizes it? And my suggestion, Chairperson, is that the committee must take a decision to the effect that the Parliament as an institution will have to do something in terms of protecting its own processes. I leave it there for now, Chairperson. Thanks very much.
So, in brief, you are proposing that there should be a committee resolution for right to the Speaker.
Correct, Chairperson.
Okay, and inform her about that incident.
Correct, Chairperson.
Okay. Honorable members, can I rotate and hear what are your views on this matter? The African National Congress.
Honorable Chairperson, thank you very much, and let's thank that report from Mr. Tetyana. Chair, our view is that what happened in the ad hoc committee cannot be condoned. Unfortunately, the rules, as Mr. Tetyana has laid them out, don't seem to be very clear on whose responsibility it is to take action. And therefore, we would support a position that says that let us write to the Speaker, inform her of the incident. And I think further than that, propose that Parliament should consider what actions it can take. If the rules, and I'm assuming that there is, not that I'm assuming, there is legislation that supports a view that a conduct that should be attracting sanctions has occurred, then I think that as Parliament, we do have a responsibility to propose that, a case on this matter should be opened. Our view is based on the fact that this happened in our house to somebody who was our guest as Parliament, and we should not necessarily leave that matter to Mr. Nkabinde alone to deal with. I think it would send a strong message that such behavior won't be tolerated by Parliament itself. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you so much.
Chair, can I make an addition?
Okay, Chief Whip.
Yes, Chair. No, in addition to what Honorable Sangoni is saying, as said, I think we need to be firm in our position that this matter has to be properly investigated, because what we have at the moment, at least at our disposal, is an allegation from one of our witnesses that a message was sent to him by Mr. Paul O'Sullivan. That has to be ascertained. I think we must be firm in our resolve that it has to be ascertained. It has to be ascertained, and hopefully it will be confirmed. I believe the witness would not have lied before us, and that Parliament must take actions to deal with that conduct, because if we are not very firm and direct like that, it will undermine, it will diminish the standing of Parliament. And tomorrow we might have somebody saying, I'm scared to speak because I will be threatened. I don't agree with us encouraging our witnesses to take care of themselves, go and open a case. That must be an option they know. They can pursue that option. But somebody who comes and undermine the process of Parliament, requires Parliament as an institution to respond to that person. That's one. I wouldn't want us to go and encourage Nkabinde to open a case. He's a policeman. He knows that. In any case, when you open a case, you've got to have a lawyer. You incur your own cost. Here, an institution of the state was undermined by this allegation. It must be this institution which protects its own guest. Thanks.
If we thank you so much, may we move to the MKP? Honorable
Chair, no, I thought Honorable Skosana will come in because I was avoiding coming in while I'm on the roads because I might face some network challenges. But we support the speaker who have come before us that this is a serious issue. And we must not only report the incident to the speaker, we must also make recommendations that decisive actions must be taken against this guy because he seems to be not respecting anyone, including Parliament. And we must not set a wrong precedent. Like as it has been said by the latter speaker, that if we don't protect our own witnesses, then we're not going to get the necessary evidence that we need because people are going to come to our committee under fear. So it must never happen. And he has not only threatened the witness, he wrote an email to the senior counsel, which the senior counsel has forwarded to me, threatening some members of the committee. So this guy really, if he thinks what he has been doing for the past years, he can do it successfully with us, then he can't do that with us. So we must set a very clear and decisive example about people who want to undermine Parliament. It can't be undermined to that extent. So, Chair, let's align the letter that we are going to write and our recommendations with the legal guidance that we have been given to the speaker. I mean, that we have been given by the legal team. Let's align it and write a letter as soon as possible and recommend that a case must be opened by Parliament, not by Nkabinde. Must open a case against Paul O'Sullivan. And I agree with Honorable Mtumzeni that, Honorable Ntuli, that we must investigate and not be gullible the reported incidents. It's a pity we don't even have a criminal and investigator of this committee because it was going to be easy for us to do that work. Yeah, so that is our submission, Chair, as the MK party. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the DA. The DA.
I said we agree with the proposal, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the EFF.
I agree with the proposal, Chair, but just to note that we did have these discussions when the message was brought to our attention that we must write to the Speaker and inform the Speaker. So for us to be still having a discussion on what we should do when during the committee, we had already resolved is also just delaying. I thought in this meeting we would be discussing what action has been taken, but we support what has been proposed.
The IFP?
We support the proposal, Honorable Chairperson.
The PA?
As soon as the allegation is actually proven, then of course we stand with the proposal that decisive action must be taken. Because if wrong is done, no matter who it is, it must be dealt with. So we support the proposal, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable James.
Well, thank you, Chair. We support the proposal. I think I'm actually just shocked to learn now that still Parliament hasn't acted. This man blatantly undermined us. I think there was a reason why General Kabinde mentioned that seconds after he sent, because he wanted, and I guess he expected that we were going to take action immediately. I think if anything, it's disappointing that days later we are now actually discussing the matter when it should have been acted upon. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. But remember, honorable members, you are a committee. You must first take a decision on what must happen. So the decision is taken. Andile, any comments?
No, Chair, except to say that you will get the letter tomorrow morning. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much. May we move to the next item, which is the presentation on submissions. The presentation is going to be very long, honorable members, but what the team that has been capturing the submissions has done is they have prepared a summary which has been circulated to members. What they will do now, they will take members through the whole document, and then members can follow very carefully, and then the summary will also help you to understand the proposals that the team is making. But what they will do now, they are not presenting the summary, they are presenting the original data. And that summary helps with regard to proposed decisions that the team is making. Can we go through the presentation? Nicolette?
Chair.
Hello.
Chair, before you go to Nicolette, this is Advocate Zigalala speaking. We just wanted to ask if we might be excused so that we can just complete our preparations for tomorrow.
Yeah, that is allowed. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Honourable Chairperson, Honourable members, and colleagues and guests on the platform. Honourable members, I'm going to take you through the report. It is an 80-page report, but we will go through it systematically. As an introduction, we are speaking to Section 59(1)(a) of the Constitution, which obliges the National Assembly to facilitate public involvement in its process, and paragraph 6 of our terms of reference, as adopted by the committee, to have public participation. Under this, Parliament undertook a comprehensive public participation process to gather information, evidence, and insights relevant to the committee's mandate. This process was designed to ensure openness, transparency, and fairness and to provide every affected person or stakeholder an opportunity to be heard. Members, in line with our terms of reference, the committee invited submissions from individuals, organizations, whistleblowers, including those documentary records or sworn statements, to enable the committee to assess the full scope of governance, accountability, and integrity concerns raised within the policing and justice environment. Honourable members, this section deals with the actual call for public comment, stating that the call for comment was for information falling within the scope of our investigation. The notice was published in all 11 official languages, and it appeared in national and regional newspapers. It was also disseminated through Parliament's official communication platforms, including its website and social media channels. The submissions period ran from 19 September to 17 October, which provided a month accessible window for individuals to share written inputs. Honourable members, this is just a recap of the actual wording that was published on the call for submissions. I'm not going to read through it, but it is here for members to take note of. Honourable members, the call emphasised that only submissions relevant to the scope of the inquiry would be considered under paragraph 6.7 of our terms of reference. The submissions must be intended to place evidence before the committee, be provided under oath or affirmation, and assistance will be provided to individuals or organizations requiring such in preparing a sworn statement or submitting evidence. Just a note here, honourable members, we did receive a couple of requests for assistance, and this will be highlighted in the actual summary of submissions. We are noting here that while the entire terms of reference governs the inquiry process, paragraph 6.7 provides the operative threshold for determining which submissions fall within the committee's analytic scope. And although many submissions did not fully conform to the procedural requirement contemplated in terms of a submission of a sworn statement, I must emphasize that no submission was excluded based on this threshold. So in the period of submissions, the committee received several hundred emails through the public participation process. Of these, 286 were confirmed as written submissions from members of the public, civil society organizations, and academic institutions. Additionally, as previously reported to members, approximately 220 emails were identified as automated or mass-generated messages containing identical or near identical text. For instance, it will read, Coral, yes, justice for all, not just for a few, yes. So these entries were actually flagged by Parliament's impersonation policy, protection of policy alert, and thus excluded from the analysis as their origin and questions or prompts that generated them were unknown to the committee. And in line with previous precedent set with Parliament, and such automated entries are treated as a single group submission for record purposes. Honourable members, the high volume of submissions reflects broad national engagement and strong public interest in the committee's mandate. Submissions collectively revealed recurring concerns about corruption, political interference, and government failures within policing and the wider criminal justice system, alongside with employment and disciplinary grievances from serving and former SAPS members. Now, these insights assist the committee in fulfilling its mandate in terms of the terms of reference, especially paragraphs 3.2 and 3.3 of the terms of reference, namely to determine systematic government failures and oversight lapses, and to propose appropriate institutional and legislative reforms. The committee has received several submissions from civil society and research organizations, which addresses, amongst others, the impact on public trust and safety, examining the broader impact of these issues on public trust in the SAPS, correctional services, the NPA, the criminal justice system, and the judiciary and national security. Honourable members, in terms of the thematic analysis, it must be noted that the consistency of the issues raised provides valuable qualitative insight into the systemic challenges falling within the committee's mandate. The submissions were analysed considering their bearing on the scope of the committee's inquiry as set out by our terms of reference. And specific focus was placed on the key areas of consideration as stated in the scope of our terms of reference. As mentioned, members, the submissions point to recurring challenges in the policing and criminal justice environment, including concerns about interference, misconduct, governance weakness, and uneven accountability. Several contributors observed that leadership instability, internal divisions, and inconsistent disciplinary practices may be affecting organizational cohesion and operational effectiveness. These issues taken together create conditions in which misconduct can go unaddressed and may contribute to broader concerns about crime levels and community safety. The submissions also reflect a growing concern about declining public confidence in SAPS and related institutions, highlighting the need for strengthened leadership, clear accountability, and more effective oversight across the system. Honourable members, we have then done a thematic analysis on the 18 aspects of the terms of reference, and under each separate subparagraph indicated specifically what the occurring themes were identified. If we look at political interference, the overall pattern suggests that the public associates declining apologies, members. So the overall pattern suggests that the public associates declining police performance and accountability with undue involvement, overreach, abuse of authority at the very senior level in operational matters, senior appointments and investigations, policing culture values, loyalty or political loyalty over professionalization. Honourable members, in terms of corruption, bribery and misuse of public resources, there was a widely held perception that corruption is systemic, extending beyond individual misconduct to the institutionalized abuse of state resources, and that this points to weak internal controls and a lack of consequence management, which creates impunity. If we look at misconduct and unethical behavior, many submissions alleged victimization of SAPS members, including manipulated internal investigations and abuse of disciplinary processes to unfairly remove from the SAPS members who have reported wrongdoing. In terms of the status of the 121 case dockets, there was a limited public engagement on this, and this could be due to a variety of reasons, but it could be simply the limited scope and reach of the task team itself. And then if we move to instability within crime intelligence component, a small number of contributors actually touched on this, but concerns were expressed that leadership instability and internal divisions within crime intelligence may undermine the unit's effectiveness and create opportunities for misuse of intelligence for personal or political processes. In terms of the alleged corrupt relationships between senior officials and private individuals, also a small number of submissions included sworn supporting documentations. Contributors nevertheless expressed concern about the alleged inappropriate relationships between senior officials and private individuals that may compromise the integrity of policing functions. Several submissions also highlighted the lack of effective whistleblower protection, which may discourage individuals from reporting such conduct. In terms of internal oversight and accountability mechanisms, there appears to be little faith in the internal processes and bodies whose work it is to detect wrongdoing by officials and relevant and prevent reoccurrences. A lack of consequence management and fear and weak oversight facilitates a culture of impunity. Moving on to leadership failures, leadership instability is regarded as a key factor in the erosion of professionalism and discipline in the SAPS. Appointment of senior officers should be transparent and merit-based, and this came through in various submissions received. In terms of procurement irregularities, procurement is widely regarded as a major arena for corruption that requires addressing through a committed and to transparency and strengthened internal and external controls. In terms of section or paragraph 4.111, the existence of organized crime syndicates infiltrating the state, submissions indicated widespread belief that organized crime has penetrated elements of the criminal justice system, placing good governance at risk and threatening internal security. Moving on to prosecutorial conduct and interference by IDAC. Public trust in the NPA's impartiality appears weak. Collectively, the concerns expressed suggest the need to insulate the NPA from political interference and strengthen its independence. In terms of failure of organs of state or executive members to comply with the legal obligations, the submissions received accounts and suggest a pattern of indifference or obstruction, even suppression of evidence by officials and weak enforcement of constitutional obligations across the criminal justice system that frustrate access to justice. In terms of allegations against members of parliament, we did not receive any substantive submissions on this issue, but general calls were made for MPs and ministers to be held accountable. The impact on public trust and safety, submissions reflect a severe erosion of public trust in the police and justice institutions, linking corruption, poor leadership, and political interference to decreased safety and security. In terms of the chain of custody, data integrity, and record keeping, submissions suggest systematic or systemic weaknesses in the mechanisms intended to ensure data integrity and information security, with potential consequences for the prosecution of serious crimes and the safeguarding of evidence. In terms of conflicts of interest, submissions highlight a seemingly wide-held perception that ethical standards are inconsistently applied in cases involving senior police officers, and that declarations of interest are not properly enforced. In terms of the last section under the scope of the terms of reference, interagency coordination was highlighted as perceived to be impede the progress of investigations, contributing to a culture of impunity and frustrating access to justice. Honourable members, moving to the summary of submissions, just as a note, the manner in which the submissions are summarized is tabulated primarily in order of date received to ensure that it is easily accessible and traceable. The inclusion of a submission must be emphasized that inclusion of a submission in the table below does not imply factual verification or endorsement by Parliament. All entries remain subject to review and further evidentiary assessment in accordance with the committee's mandate and the provisions of the powers, privileges, and immunities of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act. Honourable members, upon review, it was observed that the majority of contributions do not provide probative evidence directly related to the allegations under consideration. Many of these submissions concerned personal disputes, service delivery challenges, unresolved criminal complaints, or administrative matters requiring operational attention by the SAPS, the NPA, or other departments. Nonetheless, when viewed collectively, these submissions reflect recurring patterns and concerns that broadly corroborate elements of the testimony presented before the committee. To ensure that such concerns are appropriately addressed, the submissions have been flagged for referral to the relevant portfolio committees or oversight bodies with a mandate to process them further. This approach ensures that all matters raised by the public maintain within Parliament's accountability framework and are directed to the institutional structures best positioned to consider and resolve. This approach enables the committee to maintain focus on extensive reference while ensuring that Parliament remains responsive to the concerns placed before it by members of the public. However, it must be highlighted that this approach is not prescriptive and the ultimate determination of how these matters will be taken forward rests with the committee. In line with the requirements of the Protection of Personal Information Act, or POPI, and Parliament's obligation to safeguard the dignity, privacy, and security of individuals who participate in committee processes, the names and contact details of submitters, as contained in the summary table, have been redacted. Furthermore, paragraph 5.9 of the Terms of Reference requires the committee to take all reasonable steps to protect witnesses and whistleblowers from threats of intimidation, including ensuring confidentiality where necessary. Accordingly, the table reflects only row numbers and the summary of submissions with identifying information removed. Full details are retained securely in the committee's record for internal analysis and verification. Honourable members, the shaded rows in light green is what was identified to warrant specific attention with high probative value to the work of the committee. Honourable Chair and members, if I'm allowed, I will quickly take members through the submissions. So members, we have, if we go to the first submission, this claims to have played the submitter claims to have played a vital role in exposing corruption within SAPS as a whistleblower. The correspondence outlines allegations of corruption and victimization within SAPS crime intelligence from 2008 onwards. The comment is that it should be considered by the committee and a sworn statement should be taken as this was not actually provided to the committee, but the submitter has been placed on the provisional witness list of the committee. Members, if we move on, the second submission received alleges the existence of an organized criminal network operating in Mamelodi, led by Mr. Matlala, and it is alleged that he controls local projects, municipal procurement, and informal trading through intimidation and extortion. It is suggested that the committee should consider the submission and request a sworn statement. However, it must be noted that the author notes that this is based on street gossip, but further exploration could be valuable to the committee. Honourable members, the third entry, it's The allegations speak to compromised and unethical conduct of the NPA and compromised judicial officer. The cover-up of Magistrates Commission to sweep things under the carpet. This is what was provided. The submitter has actually requested assistance in providing evidence. They only sent a very short email. The relevance must be tested, but under our terms of reference, the submitter has requested assistance to draw up the actual statement. As an example of a referral that is proposed, the submitter in row 4 alleges interference and corruption involving local government contracts. And it is proposed that this be referred to the Standing Committee on Public Accounts from SCOPA. If we move forward, the submitter alleges entrenched corruption and collusion between a senior municipal engineer, contractors, and elements within Extra, SAPS, and the NPA, leading to personal victimization and a decade-long failure of justice. It urges Parliament to treat this case as an example of systemic governance collapse within professional and law enforcement institutions. This individual did provide a sworn statement. It should be considered as systemic governance failure, and it is proposed to be referred to the Portfolio Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure. And number 6 deals with allegations of political interference in the judicial process using connections to disregard court orders and manipulate the criminal justice system. It is proposed that this be referred to the Justice and Constitutional Development Committee. We had a submission just containing the word "high." However, this individual presumably tested the email address, and follow-up should be made to determine the purpose of the email. The next submission alleges a delayed justice and mishandling of criminal case. This should be referred to the Personal Police SAPS for report and further referral. Row 10 deals with the submission expressing concern about continued impunity in the killing of municipal infrastructure official reportedly linked to the Fort Hare-related assassination, and queries investigative progress by SAPS and the political killings task team. However, it should be noted that the query is based on secondary media reports, and it does not contain new, I want to say, evidence or any new information that has not been already stated in the media. It is suggested to be referred to the Personal Police for a progress report on the specific investigation. In terms of row 11, we have a shaded row that can be considered by the ad hoc committee. The submitter notes the killing of independent party leader. They also refer to additional killings and gunfights in Addo area. allegedly carried out in broad daylight with no arrests made. Critically, and the supporter claims to have been threatened for being politically vocal on social media about these events. The committee can consider the submission, and there's a proposal for urgent referral to the SAPS for investigation of the threats made against the person, the individual that submitted. And this person has specifically requested to stay anonymous. Honourable members, row 12 is just a comment, and it requests the following outcomes for the committee. And they list about 5 that should be taken on board by the committee during deliberations. These claims that General Sabia was involved in the Sensor Mayiwa murder investigation during his suspension. This is a comment, but it has been raised by members of the committee during testimony or in engagements with witnesses. Another comment was made stating that, or stating basic concern that the National Commission lacks the appointment process lacks public consultation, undermining accountability. It highlights service delivery failures due to lack of dockets and stationery. Critical posts within SAPS remain vacant, affecting operational capacity, funding cuts, and misallocation of resources negatively impact SAPS operations. Honourable members, here we have a request made to the committee to call Mr. Matlala to explain why he resigned in August 2022 after he had sent a letter questioning Lieutenant General Sabia's appointment as Deputy National Commissioner. We have a request, or some of the submissions was requests for telecom services highlighting the need for better communication services in the area, and this example of a referral that will be made to the Communications and Digital Technologies Portfolio Committee. In row 17, we have unfair treatment by SAPS regarding the handling of murder investigations, which could be referred to the SAPS for report. In row 18, we have a possible recommendation for the committee to consider this submission. It contains allegations of a conspiracy involving SAPS, the NPA, and the judiciary to manufacture evidence and secure wrongful convictions. The submission provides a response statement. However, the statement contains mostly recommendations. The submitter is currently incarcerated and also alleges wrongful conviction. However, the information contained in his affidavit could be of value to the committee. If we consider row 20, the submission alleges that senior government officials and business people collude in corrupt land and housing deals, manipulating state processes for personal financial gain. He claims to have has been targeted and victimized after exposing these dealings. and accuses certain political figures of abuse of power, intimidation, and cover-ups related to property transactions. The sworn affidavit provided lists 48 respondents in a very complex legal matter. It is suggested that a legal opinion should be requested before consideration by the committee, and then possible referral to the Committee on Justice and Constitutional Development. If we look at Right 22, the submission calls for a reopening of Robben Island to imprison corrupt officials and restore justice. It demands for an immediate arrest of corrupt police officers, and restoration of public trust in law enforcement, and also to expel foreigners not contributing positively to South Africa. This is only for noting by the committee. Sorry, honourable members, coming to row 27, the submitter claims that the national head of the IPID and Minister Kubai contacted him shortly before Lieutenant General Makunazi's July media briefing. The submitter claims to have suffered multiple unlawful arrests, assault, and fabricated charges in several provinces, allegedly orchestrated by police officers and senior officials. He further alleges that a wide range of government bodies, including the National Prosecuting Authority, Legal Aid South Africa, the Public Protector, and South African Human Rights Commission, and the IPID, has been complicit in suppressing his complaints and withholding evidence. The committee could possibly consider this submission, and the individual was mentioned by members of the committee during engagements with individuals or with witnesses. The submitter was specifically stated. If we move on to row 29, the submitter alleges that makes allegations that Lieutenant General Peter Jacobs failed to address corruption reports and intimidated whistleblowers at Crime Intelligence. Allegations that Lieutenant General Jacobs leaked sensitive information and endangered the lives of Crime Intelligence members and mismanaged state resources, leading to wasteful expenditure. If we look at row 32, the submitter expresses interest to present evidence of investigation since 2022 in the involvement of police and judiciary in a mass criminal activity. That involves high-ranking police, and police in particular Gauteng and Deputy National Commissioner and many generals in the mafia cartels in South Africa. So there's submission made various allegations against or in line with the terms of reference of the committee. The submitter requested assistance with placing evidence before the committee, so he could be contacted. Moving to row or submission 34, the submitter alleges that they've been victims of organized crime since before 1994, with reported incidents ignored by the NPA, claims that political connections of suspects influence investigations and prosecutorial decisions, enabling corrupt relationships between police officers, prosecutors, and criminal networks. And the committee is advised to maybe request a written, a sworn statement. Submission number 35 alleges that Lieutenant General Mokonazi lied under oath regarding the handling of fraud and corruption case against General Matlala, misleading the inquiry and the public. He seeks to clarify that General Matlala's matter was solely about vehicle transactions and unrelated to broader allegations of corruption. The submitter has attached a sworn statement. Scrolling down to submission 37, the submission alleges that a criminal syndicate involved in drugs and human trafficking and body part trade operates in Pretoria with the collusion of corrupt police officers. It also alleges a kidnapping of the family member, which was reported to the Hawks, but the investigation was allegedly blocked. So this could be, or should be sent for urgent follow-up with the SAPS to just follow up on the criminal cases that are quite serious. I highlighted in submission. Submission 38 alleges that a rape case has faced prolonged delays with the investigating officer dismissing the victim's concern and failing to provide case updates, resulting in frustration and a sense of neglect on the part of the complainant. This should be urgently followed up with the SAPS to provide a investigating report on how this case was actually handled. I'm scrolling down, honorable members. You will notice that the submissions received from civil society the names are not redacted because they represent organizations. We have received a submission from Mr. Paul Hoffman, representing Accountability Now. This is actually in the form of a sworn statement in which he urges the committee to confront deep-seated problems of political interference, corruption, and weak accountability within the SAPS, and this amongst others. Then, as an example, submission 41 alleges unlawful arrest and detention by SAPS, and this should be referred to the PCM police for further referral and follow-up to the IPID. Honourable members, sorry about that. Coming to submission 57, we have a substantive submission from Mr. Vilakazi, and he proposed. Chair, sorry, we've had.
It made some few things, ne?
Skosana, we don't want to hear your things. Chair, are you still in the meeting? Nicolette is muted as well.
Nicolette.
Chair?
Are you still here?
Yes.
Yes,
Chair, I'm still here. I think we have a hand raised by Honourable Skosana.
No, we will take the hand when you have concluded your presentation.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Chair. Moving on to submission number 57. Like I said, it's quite a substantive submission, and this was actually received from a public representative of the Economic Freedom Front, Freedom Fighters, sorry, from the Deklabeng local municipality. It contains various insights to do the committee's work. Going down, honourable members, I'm just scrolling through the submissions. As an illustration, members, we have here alleges political interference and corruption within the University of KZN. The submission claims a total failure of justice linked to the apartheid museum trademark disputes and systemic corruption. Alleges that public universities, the media, and elements of the judiciary system has enabled systemic corruption and the theft of national heritage. And it links these failures to the broader criminal justice crisis identified by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi and the Matlala Commission. What we are proposing, honourable members, is that claims like these are referred to the PC on Arts and Culture for further investigation. Looking at submission number 62, this submission, it alleges serious corruption in the judiciary. However, it's a very short message, but it can be further explored. It is very narrowly aligned to the terms of reference of the committee. And this individual has also requested assistance to provide evidence. Honourable members, looking at submission number 66, the individual alleges corruption, harassment, and abuse of power by officials with the IDEC and the NPA who allegedly manipulated and duplicated charges against former SAPS members. Claims these officials resigned from the SAPS to continue pursuing personal vendettas within IDEC and calls for the suspension of suspension and parliamentary investigation. The submitter should be contacted for additional information and possible consideration by the committee. Submission number 70 alleges abuse of subscribe intelligence, secret funds and misuse of state resources in covert investigations of the Pala Pala farm robbery, implicating the President, the Minister of Police, and senior SAPS officials. It references an IGI investigation completed in April 2024 and calls for disclosure of its findings and referral to prosecutorial authorities. Honourable members, it's proposed that it be considered as it speaks to broader concerns related to corruption. And this case has also been mentioned by various members of our committee. Scrolling down, we have submission number 76 from the African Police Civilian Oversight Forum. It's a research and civil society institution. It points towards weaknesses in parliamentary oversight function to respond to allegations of political interference and need to insulate SAP's operational command from executive interference. Just a note, Honourable Chair and members, Submission 77 alleges the long-running unlawful inception of the author's communications by the NIA, SA operatives. It extends to accusations of multiple telecoms and state entities, plus wide-ranging personal, family, and property disputes. Religious claims and even theft of a nuclear reactor concept, and it lists numerous individuals as conspirators. And although this touches broadly on what General McNulty indicated regarding the inception of communication, that's a very individualized case, and it does not refer into an overall problem. So it is here suggested or recommended that it be referred to the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence for further investigation. And maybe just as a side note, or just as an explanation again, submissions like allegations of police assault and during a stop and seizure operation, it speaks to a broader, the broader systemic challenges in such discipline and command. So it should rather be referred to the Civilian Secretariat for Police and the Portfolio Committee on Police for investigation and follow-up. Similar to the submission 83. Submission 87 is supposed to be a referral to the Defence and Military Veterans Portfolio Committee. Members, to highlight submission number 3093. The submitter actually just he raises irregularities and lack of transparency in the SAP's detective re-enlistment process. But he also raised concern about the role of the service provider, Mr. Matlala, who was reportedly awarded the tender to conduct these assessments, and questions and raised concerns about the services that was supposed to be provided to the SAPS members by Medicare 24. So yeah, the submission calls for clarity and accountability from SAPS regarding the status of the recruitment process and how these members or recruits will be screened for medical assessments. And that's also part of the committee's investigation. However, it is more focused on the recruitment and re-enlistment process. The concerns relating to the Medicare 24 contract was really only a comment and not an actual submission. Rolling on. Looking at submission number 98, it alleges systemic corruption, extortion, nepotism, and abuse of power within SAPS. Vusimuzi district, implicating a senior officer and external associates. It claims interference in investigations, manipulation of disciplinary processes, obstruction of IPAT inquiries, and protection of criminal activities. The submitter, the individual, requests intervention and protection as a whistleblower. It is proposed that this individual be contacted for further information and a statement. Submission 101, honorable members. This is especially egregious case of neglect and dereliction of duty by SAPS in failing to remove a firearm subject to a court order leading to a murder, and it alleges retaliation through false criminal charges initiated by the perpetrator's family. Just to provide a bit more information on this, honorable members, this was a case of domestic violence, and the lady received a court order, a protection order, and then the police neglected to confiscate the perpetrator's firearm, as stated in the Domestic Violence Act. Unfortunately, this led to the failure of confiscation of this gentleman's firearm, led to the preventative death of this young lady, and it also it was a murder-suicide. So the prosecution is very difficult to and the family raised concern because the DPP failed to act against the implicated officer that did not remove the firearm from the perpetrator. And like I say, as I said, it could have been a preventive murder, and the officer received only a sanction of 2 months suspension without salary for non-removal of the firearm. And this speaks to significant accountability failure in the SAPS. Submission 103 was made by Mr. Vusimuzi Cat, and he made some quite strong recommendations for reform, and he's an independent researcher. In terms of submission 118, it highlights the unsolved murder case of Mr. Mkhize. So we are familiar with this case. The family has also approached the Matlala Commission, and it should be possibly referred to the Portfolio Committee on Police for the SAPS to provide a detailed report on the investigation that was done in this case, despite it having occurred quite a while back. In terms of submission 119, it alleges political interference in legal proceedings and wrongful prosecution in court, and alleges the SAPS had a strong case, but the SPP declined to prosecute, leading to suspicion of interference. So the submitter has already raised the matter with the Office of the DPP, and the response was shared with the committee. The DPP instructed the Chief Prosecutor and SPP to continue with prosecution, thus overturning the original decision. However, the DPP KZN requested further information, but it wasn't stated whether it was received. The submitter also requested assistance to be provided to him to give evidence before the committee or submit an actual sworn statement. In terms of submission number 128, the submitter submission alleges or contains allegations of drug cartels operating within the police service, or as they noted it, the force, and the related corruption reported to Lieutenant General Mokonazi. That's not a very long submission, but it could contain valuable insights to the committee. In terms of submission 131, the individual requests for opportunity to submit sensitive information regarding alleged misconduct and corruption within SAPS and related institutions. It should be noted that no indication was given on the specific evidence that the submitter wants to make. However, they have requested assistance with the drafting of a statement. And in terms of the committee's terms of reference, we should consider doing that. Then we received a submission from Mr. David Bruce at the Institute for Security Studies. And they give a more research perspective on political interference within SAPS and executive oversight versus operational interference of or by Minister Machuno. Submission 140 is made from a former SAPS colonel with the 26 years of service, and it highlights systemic failures, bias, and financial irregularities in SAPS disciplinary and administrative process. It is quite a substantial submission that could be considered by the committee. Honourable members, submission 148 touches on how SAPS whistleblowers are targeted, intimidated, and sidelined when they report corruption. It illustrates how internal systems are abused to silence people, how weak oversight allows misconduct to continue, and how this creates climate where cooperation goes unchallenged. This directly supports the committee's work by highlighting systemic problems in SAP's leadership and accountability and organizational culture. It is proposed that this submission be considered. Also, submission number 149 contains detailed allegations of capture, political interference, and corruption in the SAP's human resource management system. In terms of submission 150, the author alleges being the victim of systemic corruption and cover-ups involving police, municipal officials, and criminal networks. This submitter requested
to testify under oath. However, the committee could or should decide on this, as the matter is not directly related to the committee, because it claims ongoing harassment, defamation, and economic sabotage, and say powerful individuals are protecting themselves and others involved. The author requests to present evidence under oath before the committee, asserting that their testimony could expose major corruption and collusion. And based on that, the committee should consider and request or assist the submitter to actually draft a sworn statement. Submission 158, apologies. The submission highlights the extreme risks faced by whistleblowers in South Africa, noted that even when exposing verified corruption, the state often reacts only once the damage is irreversible. The author describes having been placed in witness protection due to serious threats after reporting high-level corruption, enduring multiple attempts on their life, and significant psychological harm. The experience underscores systematic failures to protect whistleblowers and the urgent need for stronger safeguards, accountability, and institutional reform. The submitter also claims to have evidence of misuse of the Crime Intelligence Secret Fund. In terms of this, it is advised that the committee should consider the submission. Submission number 162, request for investigation into the circumstances surrounding the death of Lieutenant General Mfazi, who is a former Deputy National Commissioner. This is actually correspondence received from his widow, and it has been stated by committee members previously that this death should be noted in relation to the work of the committee. In terms of submission number 165, it alleges political interference, corruption, and the leadership manipulation within SAPS, corroborating Lieutenant General Makunaza's claims. The former SAPS crime intelligence analyst links these issues to the death of a senior SAPS officer in 2021, allegedly by poisoning after uncovering large gold tender and secret fund corruption. It claims that the officer's evidence was seized and investigations suppressed, including indicating high-level obstruction. The submission urges Parliament to protect whistleblowers, secure related evidence, and establish an in-depth independent investigation into the case and broader interference within SAPS crime intelligence. So the subcommittee can consider having as a potential witness. In terms of submission number 167, this is actually a submission received from the legal representation of General Richard Mtludi. He has requested the opportunity to respond to allegations made against him asserting that he's been unfairly portrayed as a benchmark for corruption within the Crime Intelligence Division. In terms of submissions 171 and 172, it is from different submitters, but it touches on the same issue. They are currently defendants in the High Court, in a High Court case. The High Court overturned the NDPP's asset freezing order because the prosecution failed to be open and honest about the full facts when applying for it. It is proposed that legal services should be asked for an opinion on this matter before the committee considers it, as it is quite a legal matter. In terms of submission numbers 174, the submission alleges corruption involving politicians and officials, indicating a relationship with judicial capture. The councillor has reported that he has received death threats for exposing corruption. It is proposed that this must be referred to SAPS urgently to investigate the threats against the councillor's life. Moving to submission 176 is also a submission from civil society, an academic institution. It says that it touches on the political killing stars team and various issues concerned to that. Submission 178 alleges the murder cover-up and docket interference by SAPS and crime intelligence. It alleges the misuse of SAPS secret funds to buy silence and fund protected witnesses, a corrupt relationship between high-ranking police officers, politicians, and private contractors, and ongoing impunity for politically connected individuals. This could be considered by the committee or referred to the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence. Submission 179 expresses a desire to provide a statement in response to allegations made against him by General Sabia and referred by Lieutenant General Makunazi. The individual's name was mentioned by both the witnesses. We have requested, so that's basically a request to appear before the committee to clear his name. Honourable members, it was originally a very short submission from a legal representation. However, since the committee has received a significant bundle of evidence, including sworn statements and supporting documentation, the evidence, like I say, is based on substantive submission concerning the past municipal employment of Lieutenant General Sabia. The submission alleges that Sabia his appointment and subsequent promotion within the city of Johannesburg were marked with irregular processes, unlawful delegations, financial misconduct, and unauthorized procurement of specialized equipment. I think members, this will be made available to members as soon as possible. Submission number 181 is received from Dr. Stanley Maposa. He is the director at Gun Free South Africa, a civil society organization. They speak to significant corruption that was identified in firearm record-keeping tenders, including the Waymark Infotech contract, which resulted in significant financial loss without delivering a functional system. Honorable members, this is really one of the key examples of significant procurement irregularities within SAPS. Looking at submission 188, the submission raised concern about weaknesses in digital evidence handling during police investigations, warning that forensic tools used to extract data from mobile devices can inadvertently or deliberately be altered or mislabeled if not properly supervised. This has been marked for consideration because it points directly to the chain of evidence and custody controls, and it is closely, not directly, linked to the 121 case docket that was moved from the KTP political killings task team, but really speaks to how chain of custody controls can be or should be handled. It makes valuable recommendations that could be considered by the committee. Submission number 196. It refers or alleges a lack of protection of whistleblowers in SAPS and factions in SAPS leading to unfair promotions. And it's marked for consideration by members of the committee. Honorable members, I want to say that concludes one part of the submissions. The next the next section from number 197 to 287 to complete, or 286 to complete the entire set of submissions. The rest is labor-related submissions. A total of 88 submissions were received from former and serving SAPS members who reported grievances related to unfair dismissal, irregular disciplinary action, promotions and reenlistment, or reservist absorption. It should be noted that 85% of these submissions were received on between 15 and 17 October, like within the last 2 days of the public participation process. Honorable members, and while these matters raise legitimate concerns about perceived labor practices in SAPS and other government departments, Parliament's direct intervention in individual labor disputes could breach the constitutional principle of the separation of powers. These individual disputes fall within the jurisdiction of statutory labor dispute resolution mechanisms, such as the Safety and Security Sectoral Bargaining Council, or SSBC, and the Commission for Conciliation, Mediation and Arbitration, System A, and the Labour Courts. However, the submissions showed a recurring pattern which remain material to the committee's analysis and work done as a point of broader organizational concerns, namely SAP's re-enlistment process, communication and feedback, is largely that SAPs do not effectively communicate with SAPs members that wish to return to work as part of the re-enlistment process. A second recurring issue was that there's limited pathways for community policing forums, CPF members and reservists to be absorbed into the SAPs as permanent personnel. The third recurring theme is ongoing systemic challenges in SAP's human resource management and allocation. And the last recurring concern was related to the application of disciplinary regulations, including allegations of misuse of expeditious dismissal processes. So, honorable members, I have listed all the submissions from number 198 to 286 in the table without giving too much detailed information, but we've put in some comments on where the process are currently, so members can take note of this these submissions. Like I say, because it really does speak to the overarching theme of the committee's work in terms of accountability and governance within the police service. Chair, honorable members, this brings us to the end of the public participation report.
Nicolette, thank you so much. We want to thank you very profusely. This presentation was very, very long, energy-sapping presentation. But we want to thank you for your endurance. We are at the end of the presentation. I'm going to suggest that we do this, honorable members. Like I said, when Nicolette started the presentation, that it's going to be a very long presentation. And at this stage, I don't expect any one of you to contribute productively to such a long presentation. Now, the presentation has been made before us. We know it, all of us. We have been given a summary. I will want to request that we deal with this item this way, that members go members have time to go through the summary of proposals that have been made. The summary has captured all the queries that have been submitted to our attention and the proposals that are being made. So I propose that we give members chance to go through the summary and the proposals, and even to check with individual citizens who might have called you previously to just verify if their submissions have been captured. And then we will determine a date on which we come and finalize this item on how we must move forward, or the decisions that we may need to take regarding the submissions that have been made. I'm making this proposal cognizant that it's now after 23 hours. Can I rotate and hear what members are saying? The African National Congress.
Chair, I think can I come in? I think Kusela has got some challenge.
Yes, Chief Whip.
No, thanks. No, Chair, we agree with your proposal. It's quite clear that this is a very, and let me join you in fact to thank Nicolette for a very, very elaborate and extensive presentation, which then leaves a lot of work, of course, on our side to read and familiarize ourselves with what is contained in the presentation to make an informed judgment. So in the light of that, we want to agree with you that we should continue to work on this document, but sooner than later, we need to find time where we will discuss it with an intention to prioritize the approach in dealing with the matters that have been canvassed on the report. So we agree with you. And maybe we may also have to consider, Chair, I know that in one of the meetings a proposal was made that we should also not entirely exclude the possibility of working some of the days over a weekend or during the weekend in order to expedite our work. So I would suggest that not in a long distant time from now, we should find time to meet and deal with it. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Chief Whip. MKP.
Thank you, Chair. Oh.
Skosana will take it, Chair.
Honorable Skosana.
No, okay. No, I thought Ishongo will take it, but it's fine. I think I agree, Chair, that we'll be able to finish and discuss this matter further next week, because when you look at the time, and we are still preparing for tomorrow, I think that, as you said yourself, we might not be productive, and I guess, as you said, it was a long presentation, and I think we still have time to dwell much into it and make sure that we properly represent everyone, not necessarily everyone, I think I'm making a mistake, that all these public participation, those who will be able to deal with, let's deal with these matters at another time, because for now, I can tell you we won't be able to finish. So I really concur with the Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Honorable Skosana. The Democratic Alliance.
It's too late now, Chair. Glenis is resting.
Balele.
The Economic Freedom Fighters.
Chair, yeah, we are in agreement that we process the matter later. What we would like to give input on is that perhaps in the interest of better efficiency, that all political parties submit names of who they think should come and give testimony, and those who we must give submissions to, and then we consolidate that list. And in the next meeting, we'll just discuss names that are not common. And I think that will work much quicker if we do it that way. That's our submission. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you so much. The IFP.
Robert.
The PA.
Agreed, Chair.
Honorable James.
Agreed, Chair.
Thank you so much, honorable members. We have decided the way we did that now that the presentation has been made before the committee, let's go and familiarize ourselves with it. If there are any suggestions like what Honorable Matthys is suggesting, members can always make those suggestions with the Secretariat. It will make our business easier. It will enhance the way in which we deal with this item. It's very onerous, laborious, and like the Chief Whip has said, very extensive and elaborate presentation. So we want to thank you so much, Nicolette. You just keep your tabs so that when members make those suggestions, even if there may be inquiries about some submissions which would have fallen between the cracks, just be receptive and make sure that those additions are made. Bonani, do you want to make any announcement for tomorrow's logistics?
Chair, the only announcement would be that members will leave here at 9:30.
You say 9:30?
Yes, 9:30, Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. Honorable Shongwe?
Yes, Chair.
Are you still here, my man? No. I was checking if you are still here. Do you want to say something about the letter from the representative of Mr. Radovan Kreja?
Yes, Chair. I received thank you, Chair. Thank you very much. I received a text from a lawyer of the man in prison. I can't pronounce that name. Kreja, yes. She said that her client actually would like to present some solid evidence that she claims they have and expose some senior officials in the government system, specifically SAPS. Now that creature is in prison where we are going, I thought if it might be credible, it might also save us time and resources that we maybe give it an ear, Chair, if it's possible, because it's in the very same venue that we can be using. Apparently, it's in the very same prison. So looking into that, Friday might be open. There's a possibility of Friday that it might be open. But Chair, I take into consideration the fact that the SC has not had a chance maybe to take statement from creature, and maybe that will disadvantage us. But I was looking in terms of resources, Chair, we can utilize this chance to get that information, as the gentleman promises that he'll be exposing a lot of corrupt officials. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. And you posted that letter in the group.
Indeed, Chair, I did. It's a text it's a WhatsApp text, Chair. I don't know where she got my numbers, but she states in that WhatsApp that she got my numbers through a certain person, and creature is in jail. I don't know how they're communicating. Maybe Creature has a phone in his cell, I don't know. But however they're communicating, it ended up landing on my cell phone, Chair. Thank you.
Did they make any indication whether they have made a submission before the 17th of October?
Chair, I'm not privy to that information, but I will check that immediately and come back to you. Just give me 2 seconds.
No, it's fine because I heard you saying that you want us to look at this matter. So I just said before we close the meeting, let me give you a chance so that you can share it with the members. The members can think about it, and then maybe at a later stage we can make a decision. But it may not be possible during our stay in Pretoria to deal with this matter because the legal team has to do consultation. A person must be properly served before the committee. They must do consultations. They must depose a statement. The statement be made available to the committee and then be scheduled for appearance. So I think members have heard you. And thank you so much for bringing the matter before the committee. And then at a later stage, we can deal with that matter if the committee so desires. Honorable members, thank you so much. Honorable members, we have come to the end of the meeting. Unless if there is any other member who wants to say something before we call the meeting off. Gone. Thank you so much, honorable members. Thank you so much, members of the staff of Parliament, Dr. Tuli and your team, Nicolette. I must personally thank you for the work that you have done and the brilliant presentation that was made here before the committee. The SC and your team, we want to thank you so much. And members of the media who have been with us here until this time when we call off the meeting. Thank you so much. The meeting has come to an end. Good night, honorable member.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Good night, honorable members.